You know what I'll tell you what trips me out is my awareness while I'm sleeping. I remember when it very first started happening, it was because I lived on that house on 55th. It was right after I'd lost my last house and my divorce, and we moved into a rental. It was the first time I'd even moved into a rental, like I think since I was a teen, when I was a teenager, I got an apartment, but I think I always, at some point, I was always living it. Well, let's see, when my kids were really little, we were renting then. But that's how long ago. It had been a long time since I had rented. And, I was always like, oh, I don't like to rent. I don't want to live in somebody else's house. And I have a whole bunch of feelings about ownership and renting and all that stuff. And, I think that we're supposed to, it's not like own the land. That all this money exchange and stuff is bullshit. But like I've said before, there is, I believe, you have your space to maintain, to be in union with the earth, to work the earth, and the earth gives back to you. So we all have that right as a living being to have that as a purpose, as a part of our existence. And that is what they're trying to control. And it's breaking my heart so bad right now with this weather. Oh my God. But okay, let me go back to where. So when I was rented that one house, what was it I was going to tell about that house? About the rent. Oh, because right after we moved in, the people decided they wanted to sell the house. I think they had tried a bunch of times, but I'm telling you, timing is everything. And I've seen it. I'm on the other side of some of this stuff. I'm not on the other side of all of it, but I'm on the other side of some of it. And that is why, I can say, when it keeps pushing you and pushing you in a direction, go with the flow. Don't get all caught up in like, oh my God, life is so hard. It never is there for me. Because it's easy to do when you're, on your third house and you're losing it's very frustrating to feel displaced. And I know a lot of people are right now. And it's so heartbreaking is because of the weather assault that is happening on them. The weather here is absolutely insane. Like, I can't even believe how cold it is. It's so snowy again. This is just madness. It's so manipulated. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about was, and I don't know if this was the same girl as before, because I've seen a few people talking about this now, and I know it's not all the same because it's not the same gender. But this dream or this premonition or whatever of this horrible earthquake that's going to happen in California is going to split America, like in a very elaborate way in these people's premonition or dreams or whatever. And so yesterday I was watching TikTok for a while. My hands are killing me. I can't even, my joints hurt so bad right now. I keep trying to think of what is it that's hurting my joints? Like, this is insane. Like, trying to open something or make my fingers work. So anyways, I wasn't crocheting as much because my fingers hurt so bad. And I was watching some TikToks. And this girl, and I'm not sure if it was the same one, because they both had brown wavy hair, but I don't remember, faces as well. Like, they switched to me ever since I got my brain injury. There's some faces that I can picture, but if I don't know you really well, it's hard for me to put your face together. And so anyways, that this person, obviously I don't know him very well. So, it's the same brown haired girl to me. When I was looking at her, I was like, this girl seems like a different one, because this girl seems like she has really long brown hair and the other girls seem to have short curlier hair, but I don't know. Could be exactly the same person. But so she was talking about, so the earthquake or the volcano that is going in Hawaii. So they've got that volcano, the biggest one, hadn't gone off in 38, 40 years or something like that, which, like, they've been doing this stuff, trying to set these things off with their manipulation. That is what, it's so crazy, because not everything happening is natural. So much of it is manipulated, just as our whole lives have been, So they got that earthquake going. At the same day I had seen that one started, there's also one in Utah going. So they've got a volcano in Utah and a volcano in Hawaii. So the one in Hawaii, whatever was going on, it was said it was going to start some sort of weird water storm thing that was going to go across and come and hit into where over here where I'm at. Instead, it was going to come in with, there'd be snow, heavy winds, and there's supposed to be some really crazy stuff that's going to happen in Southern California, or all of California, the whole thing. Because the part where where I'd seen this map part, it was just showing the northern. So whatever it's going to come in and hit, this volcano doing something to the water in Hawaii is going to create this storm over here. Well, the storm's already going over here. We'd already had winds, and I'm sure there'll probably be more wind gusts, because if there's going to be wind gusts, you know, they're going to put on their wind machines and crank those bitches up. You know, they're going to take down some trees, maybe crush some houses, some cars, maybe luck out and crush the whole family. Like, you know, that'd be a bonus day for them. So this girl, so I'd already seen that, I'd been seeing the Hawaii things, and I had been, or the volcano things, and I kept thinking, oh yeah, I got to remember to talk about the volcanoes, because, you know, that's the stuff I'm always looking for, is the floods, the volcanoes. And like I said, now the Mississippi is about to have another one, and they've got this massive storm that is going across America. So we're getting hit by the volcano storm over here, and then another storm going across, you know, dead set throughout America, especially down in the southeast, where they keep hitting and hitting and hitting. And I'm sure that there's a lot going up in the northeast as well. But anyways, this storm that was going to be going across, and of course, you know, I don't even know all the stuff that was going to be happening. But so then I saw this girl again talking about it, and she was saying like, oh, well, you know about the volcanoes. And so she started talking about this storm and where it was going to affect and how. And so she goes, I'm paying particular attention because of my dream or my premonition or whatever she called it. And she said this week that she's going to be paying totally attention to what's going on over here on the on this border, not the south, I've got the south stuck in my head, the western coastline. And so she said she was going to really be watching it because of her dream thing. And so she was really weary over what was going to happen this week. And so, and these storms going and stuff. And so, and I was seeing more things with the more threats, and there's just more weird, absurd things. It's nonstop with the weird, absurd things. Like, that's all part of the poking the bear, the poking humanity to get them to wake up. Like, are you going to notice this? What about this? It's getting weirder, you know, and then at some point they have to go like, fuck, shit is weird. But, you know, I know a lot of people who are asleep and doesn't, you know, they're still like, the veil is so thick that they don't even notice things, you know. It's so, oh man, it's so weird. Like, it really trips me out. Like, I swear it was tripping me out in 2020 when people were staying asleep. But, you know, man, at this point, and I don't know, like, about, you know, with my neighbors, they just seem so dutiful to the system. Just, you know, it just seems like so many people are just such participants. Like, it's a privilege, you know? It's a privilege to partake in this system or something to them. It's like, and they've got to do their best. They're going to be the best at it. You know, they're going to be the winner. It's like, oh, I don't know. It's so weird when you start seeing through the illusion and seeing what they're looking at, and you see what you're looking at, and you see what they're looking at. It's like, what? Like, but you don't have to do that. And they're just like, quit talking crazy talk to me. Like, it's like, oh, it's so weird. So, and I've got, like, I swear to God, wait for your truth to come out. And then just more weird stuff just keeps happening. It's like, okay, I'm talking about the truth. I'm talking about, you know, what y'all have been telling me for years and years and years, and showing me and directing me towards. Then, But, we have no control over timing, that's for sure. Timing has its own unique characteristics to how people grow and learn and stuff like that. So, you have to release so much of that. And that, I think, is happening for a lot of people. But anyways, so, I'm asking for please show me my truth, and I'm doing all this stuff. I'm preparing for more energy to come towards me or whatever this whole thing is like. Um, when you're expecting somebody, you're supposed to start opening up space in your home or something. Like you start cleaning your closets, you do that stuff. And so I had been doing that. And it wasn't like I was like, well, I better check off A, B, and C. No, it was just like I would just get this like, oh, I really got to go clean my drawers. I've got to clean my dresser out. Like, I really got to do this. Like, I clean my closet. And especially after I had come back from this trip and I had went to thrift store shopping. I got a couple of things. And so then that always is like, oh, I need to clean up. And then plus I still had my bag packed for a case of evacuation. I was like, I probably need to change some of this. Probably got some like warmer clothes. Now it's like frigid. So I probably need to put this stuff away. And, and I still went and filled up. Like, I think anybody who, you should be keeping your gas tank full as long as there's gas, because you don't know, at what point they could evacuate you and there's no gas, because that's the kind of shit they'll pull. And, man, I still can't see some things good. When a hair goes down across my eye, this keeps happening lately. Over the past week, it's like every day, some hair goes and gets caught down and goes into my eye. It's driving me crazy. And I think my eyes are really bothered right now because of the smoke, because I keep my fireplace thing open because it makes it so much warmer. I don't understand with these wood stoves why you close them like that. Why not have a chain thing on the front like a fireplace so the heat can come out? As soon as I close it, it's like the warmth leaves the room. So I keep it open, but it does make it a lot more smoky. And it's probably also making it a lot more with my congestion, because I'm sitting here breathing smoke all day. And when I took the blankets and stuff, and so go out of my house, the blankets that I had crocheted, when you open them, it totally smelled like I would sat next to a bonfire and crocheted. My one daughter, who always says that my house smells, she's like, it smells like mildew. She wouldn't even put her blanket in the house. It's hanging outside. Oh my God. And she's like, it's not just me. Also, he could smell it. It's like, well, I don't know. I don't smell mildew. I smell like a fire. So I don't know. We all smell and taste things differently, and maybe she has a real put off thing to being in the woods, because I don't smell the mildew smell like she does. When I came home and I open up, and the house has all been closed up, I don't like the smell of it. It smells definitely, I wouldn't call it mildewed. It just smells like, I don't know, maybe old moist wood or something. I'm not sure. But I just go around, spray some essential oil, which, oh my gosh, I keep seeing these things like, don't use candles, don't use fabric sheets, and don't use any of those sprays or whatever for room smell stuff, or the plugins and stuff. Oh my God, the stuff I keep seeing about how toxic those things are. And I had stopped using dryer sheets a while ago, and I have dryer balls and I put essential oil on them, and it works good, but you have to use a lot of essential oil. No telling what all chemicals they put on there, but that when you absorb that into your clothes, and then you wear your clothes, and then you kind of sweat or make a moisture between you and your clothes, that moisture absorbs. Like, it absorbs. Like, really super dry skin would be less absorbent than a moisture skin. So everything that is in your clothes absorbs into your skin. And there's been so many people talking about like stuff with our skin and how much stuff is absorbing and people don't even realize. And and this one really got me yesterday too, because I keep talking about this stuff with our teeth, how more and more stuff is coming out. I need another drink of this. I should have waited and drank it before I started, because it's like I just got it, was waited for it to steep and then get it all set up. And then I was watching this tarot girl, and oh my gosh, some of these tarot people, and I know it is the energetic thing, because when you're doing a pick a card, you're also picking, but when they start saying things that are so accurate, it trips me out. So anyways, I was watching that, and then I got my tea, and I should have waited to start, but I got to drink it. And so let me think what it was I was going to say. Because I had a few things, and I kept trying to be like, okay, I got to keep this straight. I got to keep on track, because I keep losing my focus or something. Like I'm having such a hard time. Like just to pull in and focus. It's weird. I just feel very much like energetically, like shift. But anyway, so I was watching this tarot thing, and then I was which was tripping me out, and then it was something with the TikTok thing. Oh God, this drives me crazy and then I start I think I start panicking or something, like, why can't you remember? How can't you remember? And then it just pushes it further, because then that becomes my focus. Why I can't remember. When I just let it go and I just relax, it just slips right back in. One thing too, oh yeah, I almost could see it. One thing too is with my brain injury, and I was noticing something the other day. It was really standing out to me. But, like I could get all caught up in all of the deficits or what I lost or whatever. But then if I don't focus on that, and I just focus on my connection, then there is no deficit. Like the deficit becomes what you think it is. Like if it's only like whatever deficit I had that happened, which, it depends on the value you give that thing, or that, like each person would be affected different. And brain injuries are so unique in and of itself, which, that also shows that is a part of your experience, what you're coming to experience, because everything is about your learning and your experience. And I still really want to tell that thing. I've got to get it all the way in. I can like part see it. Whatever it was I was going to tell. I'll make this whole thing about it, and then it won't even be any big deal. But yeah, I have so many things rushing around in there. So I started thinking like, well, it really, there is no deficit. Like even if it affects my memory or something, they still tell me stuff. Like there's just a thing, like our brains are just not what we need. You know what I mean? We need our connection to our higher self. That is more valuable to, I think, than if you, what is a full functioning brain? Like we see these people right now who believe themselves to be so intelligent. Like I know a lot of them. They see themselves to be so intelligent, yet they are completely blind to reality, to their to not just the reality, because reality is so different for each and every person. It really truly is what you focus on. Like I could have come out of that brain injury and just been like, who cares? I don't remember you. Who cares if I don't know what time it is? Who cares about, you know what I mean? But it was still me holding on to that, like, oh, what's wrong? Why am I broken? Why can't I remember time? Why can't I remember that person? did I talk to you? Did I dream it? Like I was just, but what I kept noticing was the stuff that I was worrying about just didn't matter, didn't matter, didn't matter. But anyways, yesterday I just kind of had this whole thing like come together where, man, it really, like I can see if you got in, I just saw this video and a guy was at a 7-Eleven or one of those stores and somebody pulled in and crushed his legs and he had to get both his legs amputated. I don't know if he was doing something weird sitting in the street or they did something weird by not seeing him in the street. I'm not sure what happened. But, that would definitely feel like a huge deficit to not have your legs, not be able to move around and get around. That also is something with the universe giving you a different experience that you're supposed to have an understanding. You're supposed to experience like what that is. How does that feel when something like that happens? Like there's a whole process. And so, for me and with the brain injury and stuff, it was where I just kept going like, oh my gosh, this doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. And then plus that's where I really started seeing, once they told me that I wasn't so smart anymore, your IQ's gone way down and you're at a 99. You're barely above a retard. It's like, you could no way finish nursing school at this point, especially getting divorced with 4 kids. Nope, not possible. And and you get really caught up in all that stuff, you start feeling super insecure. God, I felt so insecure for a couple of years. I felt like I had to go around every time I'd start talking to somebody and be like, I got a brain injury. Anything I do or say weird, just have that in mind. Like, and, but when you do stuff like that, you also find support, talking like that. Then, and, I've met other people. Oh, I got a brain injury too. I got in a car wreck and I'm really struggling. So there was other people, so, it's not all bad, but it is an insecurity. And so when, it just, when I started seeing like how people still had no awareness, it was weird because I just remember telling my mom, and I even asked her the other day, and she said, I don't remember talking about that, but I remember because I know I said it more than once because it was very kind of egotistical to be like, oh, I'm so much smarter than everybody. Even with a brain injury, I'm still smarter. And I couldn't understand what until more towards 2020. That's why I said like so many pieces went together for me. Like this, it was like this whole puzzle from the time I was born. And there was just pieces and I hadn't got all the pieces. I hadn't seen the whole picture. I didn't understand all of it until 2020 when all these pieces, it was like all of a sudden there was all these pieces went into the puzzle and everything made sense. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then you see the pictures so much bigger and different than what you thought it was. And so, to me, it was an awareness. And I think awareness comes from this, because you see these different labels and these different people putting this stuff together. So this hypersensitivity, which I know I was a total, and that can be in many ranges, my soul, what I was tuned into. So if I was tuned into something different, then I would seem super sensitive to other people. Like, what are you paying attention to? You know what I mean? And so, you can't sit there and judge that and think, oh, well, you just get your feelings hurt. Well, you're just a kid. Everything is all for these past lives and stuff, which people don't even acknowledge. People don't even understand like how you develop as a soul. And so you come in as a child, but you're already affected. You're not new to the whole cell or soul world. You've been experiencing, you have things that affect you. And so you're going to have other awarenesses. And that's why it's so stupid with this neurodivergent attention deficit and stuff like that, which, I have all those things. I believe if we were to come down to the nuts and bolts of it, that every single person is on the spectrum, because there's no norm. We are trying to make a norm because it's trying to cause frustration. They want to create this control. So they create this frustration with us all trying to fit in and be this certain way, which is not possible, because we are all different. We are all from different places, from different experiences. Like, we're so much more than what they have people believing that they are. And so, I think that that is I think that is something that is just going to be it is going to be a game changer when people really realize that kind of thing. When they start looking at life not just through the eyes of this character that they're portraying, but as they look through all of the parts they've played throughout lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, and they start putting it together and start creating a whole vision of self so that they can understand themselves and stop judging themselves. Because people are just so judgmental of themselves. One of the things too is when I was talking to my daughter, I think this is what I was going to say, is like while I'm preparing my space and stuff, then she was like, can you take this person to come and stay with you? I was like, what? I was like, okay, I got to think about this. So I'm thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it, because it isn't just a simple thing. This is something big, it's really big. And so then I was like, a part of me, I was like, well, it was kind of like I could kind of test some of my theories, and really see how my ideas of healing really can help somebody and really, help them to heal, you know, um, because I do have very specific things that I have learned through my healing and how I see healing. And I see so many people struggling, and I see so many people that I feel like I could help if they could just understand some of the stuff that I talk about. And so I was like, well, if I had this kid come and stay and help, try to help them, I said it would be like they would be in very intense counseling all the time, like, and I don't fuck around. Like, I'll be honest. I'm not gonna, just like the guy who I said, I'm sorry, you're shorter than what I'm looking for. And he was offended. Oh, like, you don't even want to get to know me? No, why would I want to go and fall in love with somebody who I'm not attracted to already? Like, no, I don't want that. I don't want to go out and find, like, oh, I really, like that we can play backgammon together or whatever. It's like, no, that would just be doing like a disservice to both of us. And to me, if somebody, oh, and I had plenty of people. Oh, I wouldn't date a girl with tattoos. Like, no, why do you have so many tattoos? Why, no. If you didn't have so many tattoos, maybe, and I'm not gonna sit and whine and cry about it. Okay, good. I'd rather you say, like, no, I'm not into tattoos, than to go out and try and have sex with me. And then, I like you and think you like me. And then I'm calling you and then you're ignoring me. That's how it gets set up. That's why we got to stop with this shallow stuff. We got to have people get to know us on a deeper level. We got to form relationships on a much deeper level. But so I was thinking about, I would like to help this person, because I think it is so important to put kids out into the world that love themselves, that know that they have some sort of power, or that they're a force. They are a force, no matter how beat down they feel, you know? And to me, like, one of the things, like, right off the bat, and I didn't watch this Teal Swan thing. I don't know why. She just always cringed me. And I don't know. She could be a totally nice person. I just saw somebody years ago say, well, I really like Teal Swan. So I went in and started watching her for a minute. I was like, oh, I just can't get into this chick. I don't really like her. But, to each his own. We need all types of healers or whatever. But then I saw that she had some special on Hulu, and I had seen like a commercial, and it was this weird kind of like making people go in the pool and rebirth themselves or something. Like, it's one of those kind of far out, like, we're going to create this new, you or whatever. I don't see it like that. I do think that there's the death of the old self, like, to the point where I swear to God, for all I know, I am a walk-in. The old Kelly never left the hospital. She left this place and a new person came in who had to go through a lot of stuff. Like, I don't know. There really feels at times of change in your development, it really feels like it's a whole new person. Like, this person is not that person. There's a whole big jump, you know? You're constantly in this flux of change and development. And so when I was thinking one of the things that is important, like for a kid, is I want them to shut their eyes and visualize. And this could be for anybody. I think anybody, just like that girl who I saw who was just going on and on for her whole 3-minute video or whatever length it was. I don't know. I think you have to have a certain amount of followers to have 3 minutes. So a lot of people, they do 1 minute. Because so hers could have been 1 minute, but the whole thing was just her talking about how disgusted she was by looking at her and how horrible she felt that anyone had to look at her. She was so disgusting. And the whole Thanksgiving table is all beautiful except for her. You know, she's just going on and on and on about this, and then gets to this, like, and there's nothing I can do about it. It's just nothing I can do about it. It's like, well, why would you think there's nothing you can do about it? Like, why would you feel so powerless of wanting to be something different or wanting to pursue this other side of yourself or something, but you have no a power to do so? You're just stuck. And that is how so many people feel, so stuck. But so to me, is like, close your eyes and visualize, like, who is your best self? What is your best self? This is the creation of your avatar. So, and it's so crazy too, is when I was over in Yakima, and both of those guys, it's so, the parallels in my daughter's lives and the synchronicities and stuff, it's crazy. And when they sit here and fight with each other and don't want to talk to each other or whatever, but the universe keeps bringing them back in, I'm like, well, there's something y'all need to work out. And, you can sit there and put up roadblocks and ignore each other all day long, but that's just going to keep sitting there. There's something, your soul, you wouldn't keep crossing back into each other's orbit. This wouldn't be that way. You would be able to cut ties if that's what it was supposed to be. So if you are so angry at your sibling or your aunt or your uncle, your parent or whoever, and the universe just keeps bringing this back in, this certain pattern, like, you have to, there's something you're not seeing. There's something you need to acknowledge. There's something you need to grow from. There's something that needs to change in there. So you need to look at it from other perspectives. Try and stand back and look at it from other ways of looking at it. Like, what are the other things that you could be getting from this? And so it's really hard to explain to somebody that until they go through the experience. Once they go through the experience and it clicks in, it's like, oh, then you know what you're doing. And it still takes practice. Like, there still takes a practice to be aware of yourself, catch yourself, and then to break it down, try and understand what's going on. And that is all part of your conscious awareness, your conscious development. So anyways, when I was in Yakima, and they're sitting there playing these video games, both of these guys, it's so funny. And they're playing, and so I'm just watching these avatars, these creation. And then, I don't know, since I don't play video games, I'm kind of just like interested in, like, what is the draw here? Like, what is it? Like, you just, like, there's a lot of groaning, there's a lot of shooting, there's a lot of jumping and doing flips and stuff. So I don't know, it's like a whole ninja murder. Like, I don't know. And these avatars, they're also like, oh, now my tea's getting cold. There's even this one on this game, and I don't know what game it is, but her guy was like, yeah, there's a trans one now. So there's one. And it used to be a guy, and now it's a girl, whichever way it went. And so that's, one of the avatars too. Like, there's no agenda. Don't even think about that. No agenda whatsoever. And so, one of them though was this big old, like, it looks like the Samoan guy, like, looks more like the one son-in-law. And this big old, like, Samoan, is like tattoos all on his face and stuff like that. And the Avatar, but that wasn't him. He wasn't being that character. He was fighting that character. But it's just funny just to see like how people determine their character in a game, how they choose this avatar. Some games, I think you even build the thing. You don't just pick out of the templates or something. I think you can build your character. So, but to me, it is like you're already in a game. You're already developing an avatar. So then you have to decide, like, what do you want your avatar to be like? So to me, it's close your eyes and visualize. Who is it you want to be? What is it you want to look like? What is it you want to be like? Like, really, the more detailed that you can get in your avatar, the more in your development of being you looking at it and seeing what you want to see, right? And so, and I think it is a constant development. Like you don't just go in one day and go, oh, this is how I'm going to look. And then you would stay that way. Like you have to put work into it. You have to take care of yourself. You have to continue the process to stay how you want to be. And so, like you go in and you see yourself. And I think there's a lot of girls who have got weight problems who see themselves much thinner. And I've talked about this before, but I really, truly believe most weight is a protection barrier that the soul creates to protect themselves. So that it's like putting padding on your body. And, right now we're being so drowned with poison and stuff. And there's more things going on where people keep eating and eating and eating because there's no nutrition. So they just feel hungry all the time. And so they're eating. There's stuff they're putting in the food just to get people to be obese, to cause that frustration. Then all of a sudden in their fashion industry, it drops back down to, y'all, super skinny. That's the look. That's the way to go. Look at Kim. She does it all day long. She goes, I guess the ridiculousness of their stupid, like their avatars for the game, their little toys that they play with. And these people who just, I don't know, maybe they just really don't have a soul. Maybe they really are just some sort of CGI creation of some sort of avatar. But anyways, I do think that when people put on weight, that it feels like they feel more protected, like their soul is more cushioned and more insulated, and so they don't feel so raw. But then as they start going, it's like, they've put too much. And so then they start feeling uncomfortable. They start feeling judged. So there's always a backfire because everything is about finding a balance. You can't go too far in any direction. You always have to pull back to balance. And so that is a part of for a lot of people, what's going to be going on is going to have to do with their own avatar, their own body, their own health, their own insulation, all of that stuff. And, and it's a personal journey. And that is what people have to go in and look. And it's a hard thing to go in and look at yourself and say like, oh, I'm not perfect. And so, to me, when you go in and you visualize who it is you want to be, then you start figuring out, well, who is this person? What do they do? What do they like? Maybe you don't know. Maybe you don't know that you are a good musician or a good artist, or that there's so many things, that you can become, but you have to follow your heart. You have to see like, what is it that I'm here to experience? And so many people are trying to experience what, seems like, success, or what seems like a good idea, or it works for that person. So then they think, oh, I want to have that same experience. But you have your own experience, your own unique experience. So the more you tune into that, the more you pull in to that development, the more you use your visualization. And then you have communication. And I thought this was really cool too, because I've done this forever. And I've always thought it was kind of strange. But it was always like, well, when I would think about it, I was saying, well, there is us. I am a we. I'm not just a singular. I am a body and a spirit. So I'm not I am two things. Because all the time I will be doing something. And I'm always talking. Like, I'm not joking when I say I'm always talking to beings that people don't see. So I'm always would be like, well, we're going to go do this. Well, we're going to get up and do this. Well, I would always refer to me as a we or an us. And so then I would always think, like, why would I do that? And that is where I came to this. Okay, well, I am separate from my body. So there is a we. There is like a communion that has to happen, an agreement, or we're going in two different directions. And so I had just seen somebody else and they were telling a story, and then they started referring to themselves like that. And then they stopped and they were like, that's weird. Why did I just say that? But I think it is kind of just a natural thing when you start realizing that you are there's a separation between you and your body. And your body, your ego is a lot more attached to the body. Like, you can just be directed by your ego and keep your soul silent. I think you're silent. I don't think your soul's ever silent, but you muffle it. You don't listen. You tune more into what other people think rather than what you think. And so you're constantly shutting yourself down. It's like selling your soul. You're constantly telling your soul to shut the fuck up instead of listening to it. But so when you go in and you start doing this visualization, and you start visualizing like on your body, and I have seen this work. You go in and you start looking at, like, what do you want to look like? What do you want your body to be like? How do you want it to be? And you start visualizing what you want, and then your body is going to tell you what it needs. It's going to tell you what food. It's going to tell you what time. It's going to tell you what exercise to do. It's going to help you develop because it is separate, but you have to listen to it. Like, if it says, jump down and do 10 push-ups, then jump down and do 10 push-ups. You got to listen to it, and it will give you what you want. And it is the same in all of the development of self. There's people who think like, oh, well, I could never be a good artist. I don't even know how to draw, but they don't pick up a pencil and try. They just feel like, oh, well, in the first grade, the teacher said for us to draw this, and I didn't do it very good. So this other kid, he did it really good. He's a good artist. I'm not. I can't even draw a stick figure. It's like, yeah, but we all start at some place. You can go as far as you want. It's a development. It's a hand-eye coordination. It is you developing a certain skill. Anybody can become an artist. Anybody can become a musician. Then, some people are going to be better at it than other people because it is their soul singing through that creation. And it depends on, your soul and stuff. Like, I could say, I want to become a guitar player and learn how to play guitar. But then there can be somebody who just has this natural kind of ear, this natural ability, and they would always be more naturally good at it. But you can still go and learn how to do whatever you want to learn, It just takes, putting in the effort. And that is why it's important to know what it is you want, because then you will put in the effort. You will put in the time to develop that characteristic or that skill or whatever. And that is another thing too, is I feel like, this kid comes, no way to school. No. It is more important, that for the person to develop themselves. I think that getting a kid out there in acts of service, getting them in some sort of community project, because they can find themselves. When you start going out into the world and people are telling you, oh my God, you're doing that so good. You're so great. Oh God, you're so a part of everything, then that builds up your self-esteem. It makes you feel like what you're doing has worth and you feel good about yourself. And kids don't get to experience that often enough. They're from the time they start in school. Well, you shouldn't do that. Well, you better shut up, or you better listen to what we say. You better not, you're not allowed to question or develop yourself. You're put into a box. They're just giving you the tools every day to create your own cage. And so, I think that getting kids out there to develop themselves artistically and in the community is so important. And then rather than set them in a classroom all day long, ask them, what are you interested in? Do you want to learn another language? Are you interested in how math works? Are you interested in reading and writing? Like, I think every kid should be journaling. Every kid should have, that should be something from the time that they start learning to read and write. Here's your journal. Every night you need to write down your feelings. And then, sometimes you may need to talk about your feelings, but they need to come in touch with what's inside of them, not shut it down, not shut it up. And so that is a part of what we need to help them, get that out by journaling and, getting in touch with themselves. And then they need to learn a skill. They need to learn something that they can be good at, that they can go out into the world and offer to the world, that they can get some sort of an energetic response. So a give and take, so that you are going out into the world not as a slave. Like, here, you don't have to have a skill. We'll show you how to do it. Just come in and work all day long, nonstop. No, you have a skill that you are the marketable thing. You are developing yourself. Oh my gosh, Stella, hold on. Why do you do that? She gets in such a mood. I keep calling her Grumbles lately. She's so grumbly, just grumbly. But she hasn't been crying all the time, and I've been giving her less medicine. So I do think that the heat has helped that. Hold on. Oh my gosh, it's so snowy, and I can hear it. It is either sleeting or frozen rain. And they are out to kill the homeless people. Like, it's such a just so frustrating. I was thinking about this morning, because I don't, transitioning out is just like, it's like taking off your shoes at the end of a hard day. It's not any big thing. The thing that is hard to me, and I have past life memories of this kind of stuff, like I've had them come into dreams and stuff. It is the slow death. It's a slow suffering and painful death. And I know that there's purpose behind it all. I know that there's an expansion of self behind it all. But it's troubling to my soul because I've gone through these experiences. And I think, there's a reason why I'm remembering some of them, is for compassion for what is happening to these people. This morning I went to go sit down on the toilet, and it's fucking ice cold. And it's so cold, and I started to bitch and moan in my own head. And then right away I was like, man, what some people are going through out there. Like, they would love to have a cold toilet seat to go and sit on in a room by themselves, so shut the fuck up, Kelly. I know, that's how I get. Like, God, have some compassion. Quit being such a whiny little bitch ass. Like, I do have heat. I do have wood. And if they are trying to do frozen rain down now, and that ice storm was the worst storm I had been in Spokane when they did the ice storm, because it was just raining, and then all of a sudden it became frozen rain, and we had freezing rain coming out of the sky, and it would go on the trees, and the trees were all breaking and falling. Like, trees were breaking in half. The power lines all went down. People were at work and trying to get home, and there was power lines in the road. It was really crazy. And we didn't have power for 6 days. I think around the longest would have been around 6 to 9 days where people didn't have power. But it was challenging. It was like, and I lived out on acreage, and it was like pioneer people. I was going out and getting the snow and melting the snow so that I could go put water in the toilet to flush the toilet, because I had 4 little kids. So anyways, there all these things that are happening, they are all of the challenges so that we can see ourselves, see what we're made of, and to come up to meet ourselves. I just saw this guy and he was talking about, how disappointing it is what's going on in America. We're supposed to be the greatest country, and we're called United States of America, and he's like, nobody's united. I don't get it. The last time we were united was September 11th. And that is, and I said that is what is going to unite us again, tragedy, and that is where we're headed, because people don't know how to unite until they come to tragedy, and that's why I said from the very beginning that that was what was going to be, just one tragedy after another, because that is what brings people together. It's what creates change. It's where people start having compassion and empathy and building community and unity with one another, is when we're all at a level playing field, when we're all struggling together and we all come together, to push that big boulder out of the way. And that is what, is going to be happening. And it's going to be, obviously there's going to be more with these disasters and stuff. Like, I've even heard that the disasters are only going to be picking up steam. Like, even after this, after we start getting disclosure and the bad people are more contained, or however this is going to go down, that there's going to continue to be disasters until we get to that cataclysmic event that is going to be what changes everything into, like, I don't know how it's all going to go down, but it's definitely on that Great Awakening map thing, which I still really want to get that. And just read some of the stuff. But anyways, to me, everything is changing. It is us. It's our changing. It's our ability to change. How rigid, how stuck are you? How much are you holding on to something that doesn't even exist? It's not even real. But yet you hold on to it, trying to look and please other people, because I still see that with people. I still see that with my daughter's still very caught up in, because as soon as I say, don't put her in school, take her out of school, no, she's got to follow the rules. You got to follow the rules. Why do you have to follow? Whose rules are we following here? Is the rules, like, is it progress if you're just running straight into a brick wall? That's what you got to ask yourself. Like, how do we call this progress if the whole world is falling apart? And we're creating a world full of helpless, hopeless people who are addicted to some kind of drug and don't know how to take care of themselves. They don't have any compassion for anyone else. That sex is just, nobody cares about sex, life, death. Like, everything is just whatever. That is pulling people further and further from their soul. So they're going to feel worse and worse about themselves, because no matter if you don't want to listen to your soul talking to you, your soul's still in there communicating. It's still going to make you feel like shit when you do shitty things. And then so many people, yesterday I watched this movie. This movie was really, really good. I totally say watch this movie. And I think it's called The Ravine, and it's on YouTube. It just popped up. And I don't know if it's a new movie. It said 2022. So it could be a new movie and it didn't go to theaters or whatever, but it is spiritual. And so it had some really good spiritual things. It definitely showed how people get the darkness and then they start feeding the darkness. Like, if the darkness is telling you to do something and you don't realize that someone else is talking to you, you think that that is you internally, you become that darkness. So you have to recognize. And so it did that really good. It just showed a lot of stuff about when somebody dies, how they're still there. It showed stuff about signs. To me, it was really, really cool. Like, I thought it did a good job. Like, this one woman who, she seemed to be like an angel, because she would know things and see things and stuff. And that is, it's your connection, because they're talking to you all the time. And yeah, they can tell you what's going to happen 5 minutes ahead. They can tell you what's happening over there. They can tell you what's happening over there. They can show you. So, and then to people who are just very in the 3D, very in their little reality bubble, they can't imagine, So you seem like magical. You seem like some sort of god. You seem like some sort of crazy person, some sort, it all depends on them and their influences and their perspectives of what they see. That's why you have to constantly be sure of who you are, because if you start seeing yourself through other people, their own confusion will confuse you. So you have to be sure of yourself. And as you develop yourself, you will become more sure of yourself. You will become more, um, uh, if you are developing yourself as a musician, an artist, whatever, then you will be more confident in yourself, because you will see your gradual your movement as you develop into your creation, your created avatar, the avatar that you want to be. So there's so many ways to go about creating yourself into who you want to be. But I think it really is kind of just looking at yourself like that avatar. Like, people get all into that, creating the avatar. If they just put that same kind of focus on the avatar that they have, and if they could understand that they're in a game, and the game is of a spiritual nature, it's not like run around shooting everybody. It's gaining uh, a conscious abilities, gaining conscious awareness. It's a development of your soul in this game. So anyways, there was some more stuff. I don't even know if I covered everything. I still feel so scattered and so weird, and it's so trippy too, how like I have this awareness. That's what I was going to say about on that house on 55th, is when I started noticing that I was aware when I was asleep. I still was aware of things that were going on. It was like riding this fence and different awarenesses of reality. And so I started noticing it then, and it was tripping me out, but it's just gone more and more developed, and it just is so weird. It's so weird. Like, I can be laying there asleep, and then this loud voice in my head, okay, get up and change the fire, go and check the fire. And I'll look over and the fire is going out. It's like, whoa, it's just weird. So anyways, but I know that that is what everything is happening for. It is for us to tune into ourselves and develop ourselves to create what it is that we want to be. And, we're going through this huge transition. And, and I think whatever with this cataclysmic event, it is where you have to consciously be able to see yourself and say, oh, I'm going to stay here. I'm not going to leave. I'm not going to die because of this or whatever. That is you telling yourself, becoming yourself. Like, I really think that is why everybody is becoming more conscious, is because you don't have to die in a cataclysm. This is a changing. Everything is just changing. It's regrouping. And so we just kind of go through that and then go in to this new world, this new creation that we're gonna make, you know. So anyways, everything is gonna continue to fall apart. The absurdity and stuff, like the hypocrisy, all of the annoying bullshit is gonna continue until everything, is just out there. And so till we move past that, once stuff starts being real, it's just the absurdity is to get people to realize. And then the stuff is so ridiculous, and they get so distraught, like it's so serious. Like, there's so many people who are convinced, like, in the next few weeks that we're all going to be, we're not going to be allowed to have food without having our little passport thing, or we're going to have these, we're not going to have money, and all this stuff. Like, it's all coming. That's their plan. I don't think we're going to go into that plan much further. I think that it is just to be exposed to us more so that we understand it. But there is going to be more disasters, because obviously people are not united, and that's what brings people together. So that's just, that's just logic. Like, that is what awareness is about, is just paying attention on another level. So anyways, I will, talk to you later. Just going to sit here and freeze. I'm so glad yesterday I went out and got stuff, and now, it's like a foot of snow out there or some bullshit. So probably going to be sitting here until it melts. Last year, it melted. It took, oh my gosh, it took so long. It was just like an ice rink, the whole road thing. So anyways, whatever. This is just the way it's going to go until things change. We're going to just be one disaster after another. And that's why you got to just keep being prepared, Keep having food. Just have gas in your car, have food in your house, have food that you don't need to cook, and have a way to keep warm if there's no power. Those are the main things, to me. And water, having some clean water, because they want to poison us through the water really bad. So anyways, I'll talk to you later. Bye.